bridge connecting the district of Kayunga and Kamuli, and later on adjournment. So clerk, please lead us into word of prayer.
Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trust in this land. Let your blessings descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge.
Amen. Thank you so much, clerk, for leading us into word of prayer. I'm Engineer Kafero Sechitoleko, MP for Nachifuma constituency in Mukono district, and I'm also the chairperson of the Committee on Physical Infrastructure of Parliament. You are most welcome.
Thank you, Chair. Walsaka James are my names. I represent the people of Bunyore West from the mighty district of Taleja. But Honourable Chair and colleagues, for recording purposes, I'm a senior card of NRM, so I represent the interests of NRM in the House. The Parliament of Uganda is the only house here.
Morning, Chair and members. My name is Kamsime Pentagon. I'm a member of Parliament for Temba constituency in Chankwanzi and a member of this committee.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everybody. My name is Major Susan Oruni Lakot, representing Uganda People's Defense Forces. You're welcome.
Thank you. We also have a technical bench. Please introduce yourselves.
Good morning. My name is Agatha Kankunda. I'm the clerk to the committee.
Good morning. My name is Mataka Janet, the economist of the committee.
Thank you.
Good
Honorable
morning.
Minister. Oh, sorry, Jackie.
Good morning. I'm Jacqueline Mukide. I'm a policy analyst.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, over to your side. We will speak on the microphone for the record.
I'm Peter Lokeris, Minister of State for Works in the Ministry of Works and Transport.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, my name is Robert Kasande, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development.
Karibu sana.
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. My name is Harrison Mutikanga. I'm the CEO for UEGCM.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Chair and members. I'm Valentine Katabira, Acting Managing Director, Uganda Extra Transmission Company Limited.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Chair and members, honorable members. My name is Engineer Samuel Mos. I'm representing the Director, UNRA.
Just for the record, I received apologies from ED UNRA. She will be joining us a little late because she's got an engagement in State House.
Chairperson, I'm called Engineer Lawrence Mario. I'm the head bridges and structures UNRA.
Good morning, Chair and your team. Michael Chola is my name, Team Leader Bridges and Structures, Design Department, UNRA.
Good morning, Chair and members. Uthman Segawa, Acting Executive Director, PPDA.
You're most welcome.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Aaron Namsoke, Manager Border Affairs, PPDA.
You're most welcome.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Sophia Nasali Masagazi, Manager Advisory Services, PPDA.
You're most welcome. We have people behind here. I don't know how you'll access The microphone.
Good morning, everyone. I'm called Tumwine William Sharp, Manager Bridges and Structures from UNRWA.
Good morning, Chair, members. I am Martin Tabenga, an energy officer with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral.
Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Chad Akita, Project Manager at UPC.
Good morning. I'm called Team UPC. Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Edward Balike. I'm Principal Officer, Ministry of Energy.
Clarification.
Chair, there is an officer who said Officer Energy. I don't know whether that's the title. I didn't. My brother. Okay, thank you.
Edward, would you like to repeat your in which capacity do you appear? Because I'm told you know a lot about this project. Would you like to speak on record? Mr. Edward Balike.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. My name is Engineer Edward Balike. I'm a Principal Energy Officer in the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development and currently the Project Coordinator for Isimba Hydropower Project from October 2017.
October 2017. Is that all from this side? Okay. Honorable Minister, okay. Now that we are still on introduction, let's also recognize the presence of the Cabinet Minister herself of Energy. You're most welcome, Honorable Minister. As you walked in, Madam Minister, you found us winding up the introduction session, and now that you are settling in, please pick the microphone and introduce yourself for the record.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable colleagues, the technical team. I'm Chitutu Merigoreti, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development.
You are most welcome. Honorable Ministers, my honorable colleagues, and our technical staff, you are most welcome for yet another very important meeting. Before I get there, I would like to congratulate the committee for a successful trip into the field, of course, overseeing a number of projects. A trip that began with Chiswa, investigating land wrangles. The committee also proceeded to Nachifuma County in Mukono District, still investigating land wrangles. Later on to Bale County in Kayunga to see the yet to be constructed bridge. The bridges people are here. Thank you so much for what you did in the field. Of course, you were also hosted at the bridge in question, the Isimba public access bridge. We had an on-site visit, and we saw what we saw, which we are going to follow up today. Of course, the committee trip didn't end there. We proceeded to other projects like Parisaka, Monkoli, and Tirinyi in the east. So congratulations, the committee. Of course, we have now to take the western route, which will lead us to overseeing another bundle of projects. very soon. I will be communicating. In today's meeting, we were expecting Ministry of Energy. They are duly represented, a very high-powered delegation led by the minister herself and the project coordinator. The PS, of course, is also among. I'm so interested in the project coordinator because I have had so much, I have too much information which I need to verify from the man himself, Mr. Baleke Edward. We were also expecting UEGCL, Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited. Today we are privileged to have the CEO himself. Remember last time he was just represented in this meeting. The CEO himself is here, and we are aware that UEGCL had the administrative powers over this project. So we expect a lot of information from you now that you're here. Of course, we have the CEO of UETCL, Electricity Transmission Company. As I did mention earlier on, the ED UNRA will be joining us very shortly, but he's been represented by very high-profile civil servants. We also expected PPDA, and we are privileged to have the acting, is it ED or CEO? Acting ED, with, of course, a number of high-profile civil servants. So today we are good to go. We have everybody in house, and this is what we have been yearning for. So, honorable colleagues, tomorrow we intend to interface with the contractor at 10 o'clock here tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we intend to invite Ministry of Finance, and that will be the end of our interface. Then we write a report and be ready to report to the August House. Unless there is any reaction from my communication, I would like to give an opportunity to my Vice Chair to introduce himself. Then we move to business straight away.
Thank you so much, Chair. Sorry for having come in a bit late, but I was delayed by other issues. Chair, I first want to say good morning, the Minister and the entourage. Good morning to all of you. And also thank you for heeding to our call that you come here today to interface with us. Second, I also want to thank the Ministry through their representatives, UEGCL, and other UNRWA and other agencies, that you actually welcomed us at Isimba when we came there as a committee to look at the Isimba Dam and the Isimba Bridge. Thank you for welcoming us and listening to us and all the views that you gave us. We are very happy to do that. They will help us process our report for Parliament. Chair, we saw and heard a lot of issues on the ground, which we shall of course reach there when time comes. But my names are George Wilson in Sambakumama, Member of Parliament, Bahari constituency in Kayunga district, and Vice Chairperson of this committee. You're all welcome.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And lastly, let this one be the last, now that you walked in when we are just introducing, from that side. Please mention your names and your capacity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. Distinguished members, my name is Simon Kasset. I work as head of communication at Corporate Affairs in DC.
You're most welcome. So, Honorable Minister, for some time now, we've been carrying out an investigation in regard to the Isimba public access bridge, which is supposed to join the districts of Kayunga and Kamuli. While you are away, we received a statement from your colleague, Honorable Minister, of course stating the chronology of events. We did ask a few questions. Of course, we did not get satisfying answers. And when we went to the field, Honorable Minister, we're even getting more confused now. Because among the key allegations on this project, as stated in the House, were that 24 billion Uganda shillings was eaten, if I may use those particular words, was eaten by ministry officials. But so far, the engagements show that nobody seems to know about the 24 million. They have never even heard about it. I really wonder, Mr. PSIC is nodding the affirmative. I don't know whether people were trained to deny it or people are under instructions not to mention anything about it. Or the truth is that 24 billion never existed. Because that question must be answered explicitly in the House, because it's the major allegations. We also had another one that $35 million, the contractor owes, actually you owe, UEGCL owes the contractor $35 million, according to the allegation in the House. But when we came to the field recently, the figure changed to $28 million. That is information from the contractor. But also, UEGCL are saying, of course, through their engineer Alteria, that look, we even, although he claims to have submitted interim payment certificates to that tune, we are not ready to pay him because that money was supposed to be paid basing on some particular key milestones on the projects. There's also some bit of that. I have a letter from the contractor who we are going to engage tomorrow, but it is stating so many things here. A copy was also submitted to the Speaker's office, which I have seen. So you may need to clarify on the claims by the contractor, which I have in writing, so that we get this clear. Unfortunately, he will appear alone tomorrow because he has to tell us so many other things. But what we know already, you may need to clarify, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, now that it's your first time to appear to this committee, what do you have to say on this whole issue?
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and I also wish to welcome you back from Isimba Dam, and also my technical team for having received you. I think this is a very pertinent matter to all Ugandans, because this project, all eyes are watching what the outcome of this investigation is. Now, I have a report which I'm reliably informed that you had been briefed on this project, I think, from the ministry. I don't know whether this one, the statement which my colleague Honorable Dujang presented. Yes, that one. And like you mentioned, this gives actually a chronology of all what transpired during the implementation of this project. That's the dam. But as you've mentioned, the bridge is still under construction, and that access bridge is supposed to be done at no cost to the government, and that should be the commitment from the contractor.
The contractor is donating a bridge to us
at no additional cost.
Okay.
Because it was part of the contract that was negotiated first. That is a lump sum of US dollar 567,738,990.96 That was the total sum of the contract, which included the bridge. So the construction of the access bridge is at no additional cost. It should be within that sum that was agreed at the initial signing of the contract, which was on 6 September 2013. So, Honorable Chair, the construction of the bridge is ongoing, and I have here a summary on payments as per 19th January 2020. Like I said, the EPC amount, a copy. Do you have more copies? Supply more copies to members. So the EPC contract amount, you give that to the chair.
Yes, Honorable President.
Chair, with the due respect, may I know what the minister is submitting?
Honorable Minister, would you like to lay on table the summary? You read them, but you're off record.
Okay. Honorable Chair, I beg to lay on table a summary of contract payments as per the IPC number 19 of January 2020.
Let the records capture it.
Chair, can I look at it?
You share that one. We're also sharing here.
And this includes the total sum is stated there. That is from the beginning that's 100%, and it shows how it has decreased.
Honorable Chair, you are in that.
Yes, Honorable.
Honorable Chair, I'll peruse through this document. The signature which is here is for a teller, and as far as Parliament is concerned, we don't know a teller. Can the minister and the PS sign this document? Because when you talk about a teller, Chair, how will you explain to the House? Can the minister and the PS append their signatures on this document?
So you can bring, that is from the...
Okay.
That is the owner's engineer.
Yeah.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I was part of the group that went to the site at Isimba. And we had one of the young, brilliant engineers, I think Engineer Baleke, did you say Baleke? Who gave us a chronology of all events as they emerged right from the beginning. And actually, Honorable Chair, before I go to this document, Honorable Chair, Honorable Nsamba had directed that they should bring in writing the chronology that the engineer had told us. Remember, Honorable Chair?
Is it among them?
I'm sure if he did so, and he said he was going to write verbatim what he had presented, if he did so, such would be very good, precise summary that would actually enlighten everyone, those who were present and those who didn't, to know what actually has been moving. And then on this issue, I wanted also to say that from that meeting, we learned to know that our owner's engineer is now this company, Arteria, and previously there was somebody else. So this is the right person supposed to present these payment schedules. So the minister is right to present, even without her signature, because it is our own person, the eye of government on that project. So I think it's okay.
So at FEB to lay the document showing the chronology of the payments.
Of events.
Of events, yes.
Of events, let the records capture it.
Can we get copies for the chair?
You should sign them.
But Honourable Chair,
Yes, please.
this document which the minister endorsed of Aritera, is it Aritarema? Ariteria. This money is in Uganda shillings or what?
She was about to begin presenting. Let's
because-
allow her to talk for this document.
Yes.
Then we can ask questions. Please, Honorable, proceed.
So I've laid on table two documents. One showing the chronology of events regarding the Simba Public Access Bridge and Access Road linking Kayunga and Kamuli districts. Another document which I've laid on table is a summary of contract payments as per IPC number 19 of January 2020. Now the chronology of events shows: 1, project feasibility study was funded by the Royal Kingdom of Norway and undertaken by Fitchner GmbH in association with Norplan AS Norway. That was from 2010 to 2013. 2, the EPC contract signed between Government of Uganda and CWE, that is China Water Engineering, contract provided for the construction of a public bridge on top of the dam as per the employer's requirements prepared by Fitchner CMBH. The contract effectiveness was subject to of financing agreement between Exim Bank of China, while the project commencement date date was subject to 1, the employer finishing the necessary land acquisition and granting the contractor the rights of access to the site. 2, advance payment having been duly funded or paid, and that was 13 September 2013. 3, under engineering, procurement, and construction EPC contracts, the contractor is responsible for all engineering, procurement, and construction works and takes on the associated risks. It is the contractor's responsibility to revise the employer's feasibility study during the details design to align the construction works to the employer's requirements in order to have a fit-for-purpose structure. Part 3, financing agreements were signed on 6 November 2014. That was November 2014, the agreements were signed. Advance payment was completed on 20th August 2015. The project commencement date was fixed to 30th April 2015. Project designs were submitted progressively by the EPCC based on the works to be undertaken. Correspondences with UNRA from 2014 to 2016 regarding the access road designs are available. The EPCC submitted designs for a general layout of the plan of Spillway 2 and a calculation report. The owner's engineer gave the EPCC a conditional approval since the bridge was to be used by the public. The owner's engineer asked the contractor to seek approval from local concerned authorities of Uganda, that is UNRA. That was in November 2016 to January 2017. The Karuma...
Honorable Minister, I think the best way to proceed is to interrogate bit by bit. When you state it, if there's a query on it, we ask
fine.
so that you respond.
Thank you for your guidance.
You have just mentioned...
So I was now at number 5.
Yeah, you have just mentioned, for example, project designs were submitted progressively by the, part 4. And you said here, correspondences with UNRA from 2014 to 2016 regarding access road design are available. Honorable Minister, would you like to lay on table these communications? The reason I'm asking is we have evidence that you wrote to UNRA in 2017, 19th of September 2017, requesting UNRA to nominate an engineer to the subcommittee assessing the design and the construction of the bridge and the public road as part of the Nsimba Dam Bridge. So when you say from 2014 to 2016, I am interested in the documentation because, Honorable Minister, even in the response of UNRA, of course they are here, they will speak to this letter. In one paragraph of the response, their response of the letter dated 28th September 2017, when you requested for nomination of an engineer, UNRA had this to say. They said, we have reviewed your letter and we wish to note that the construction of the Nsimba Dam project is in its advanced stages, including the bridge component and access roads and UNRA has not been involved in the management of the implementation stages right from the commencement. I am interested in that particular statement. So please, Honorable Minister, would you like to give us evidence of involving UNRA, especially between 2014 and 2016?
Honorable Chair.
Still on what she has just mentioned?
Yes, we had agreed that while giving us this chronology, those documents would be prevailed so that we read what is here. So I hope. Yeah.
Honourable Chair. Honourable Chair, the minister has a very good document. But for us to flow, Honourable Chair, I would propose through you, Honourable Chair, that if the minister says a feasibility study was founded, the first document, she lays that is submission. Then when he says EPC contract, she lays the document. If she says she gave the clerk, then we can return now. And then they be laid, because Honourable Chair, we shall get, because
yes, I do agree with you.
Yes, whatever they talk, they lay on table.
I do agree with you, but for the record, I remember in the first meeting, the feasibility study was laid. We have that copy. Yeah? And the contract was also laid. That's why I didn't ask. That's why I didn't ask. And we also have the financing agreement was laid in the previous meetings. So maybe you need to lay evidence to show advance payment, which had been completed by 20th August 2015, because we also want to know the payment method. How is payment effected? Because this will go a long way in informing the committee whether you touched money or no, because we want to know who ate the 24 billion.
Right, Honorable Chair. For that document of advance payment, we have it, but it is not here among these, but it can be provided.
1 hour.
Yes.
1 hour from now, we need that one, because now it is going to show us who touched the money. The other documents, Honorable Minister?
Honourable Chair, hope the minister has noted your ultimatum of 1 hour.
1 hour.
Hope it has been noted.
Yeah, I'm laying what I have, and Honorable Chair, I'm requesting my team to provide these ones are not part of.
Honorable Minister, we are on number 4 now.
So
Number
I can
4.
read. Can I read what I have laying on table
You
one
lay,
by one?
you lay in regard to number 4.
These ones.
Correspondences to UNRA between 2014 and 2016.
Yes, I'm laying on table.
What has she laid? You mentioned the subject.
On 13th March 2015, Engineer Abdona Twine wrote on behalf of the ministry on the submission of route survey and detailed design of access road to Insimba, HPP from Pologoma Village, Kasana.
No, Honorable Minister, just read the subject, that is the subject of that letter. Date and the subject.
Yes, the subject is what I'm reading.
Okay, you beg to lay. Let the records capture.
And I'm also laying the response from UNRWA. And I'm also laying the response from UNRWA, Honorable Chair.
Please lay. No worry.
The response from UNRWA of 21st August 2015.
Responding to this.
Responding
of
to
13.
this. Yes, yeah.
Let the records capture the two documents. As you proceed,
Honour Chair. Honour Chair.
Yes, Honourable.
Honour Chair. The Minister stated the project designs and correspondences, but she has only read one correspondence. Yeah, UNRWA things. The UNRWA. Because Chair wanted UNRWA all. Because when she says correspondences and she lays one letter, so I wish she would lay all the correspondences. Unless when she says, and in 2014, this letter is 2015, so there are other correspondences, I think they are missing.
The period of 2014 to 2016, the ministry has been corresponding with UNRWA. We have so far received one with a response. And I'm tasking my technical people to interpret whether it amounts to involvement of UNRWA. You're most welcome, Honorable Biandara. Just to bring you on board,
so
the Minister is giving us the chronology of events, and we are on part 4 of her documents. You can share.
So Honorable Chair, as you requested, I beg to lay the correspondences to UNRWA and also their replies. On 25th February 2016, the Permanent Secretary wrote to Executive Director UNRWA, and the subject was the Simba Hydropower Project, submission of revised detailed design drawings of the access road from Kasana village. I beg to lay.
Let the records capture it.
And the reply was on 24th November 2015. The reply on the submission of the revised detailed design drawings and access road from Kasana village. I beg to lay.
Honorable Chair.
Let the records capture.
Honorable Chair.
Yes, Honorable Susan.
If I didn't hear well, the letter was written in 2016. Then the reply from UNRWA comes in 2015. How?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yes, indeed, it's a correct observation. The letter from the ministry to the ED UNRWA is on 25th February 2016, and the response is 24th November 2015. Madam Minister, would you like to clarify?
Yes, can you correct that? This from this young.
But you are the ones submitting.
This one.
As the minister clarifies, UNRWA, you should get ready to answer
I'm requesting
why you are saying you are not involved when all these correspondences are here.
I'm requesting the PS to add on those whatever, and the engineer who was supervising.
You direct.
Actually, I'm directing them
Yeah.
to respond.
Yeah.
They can you answer those because and the engineer behind, please give us the
Honorable Chair, the document dated 24th November 2015 from Mr. Isaac Wani of UNRA was responded to by the ministry on the 25th of February 2016. And those are the two documents that they have submitted to you.
Is that true?
UNRA was responding to the ministry on November 24th, and we wrote back on the 25th of February 2016. It's a series of a chronology of events.
Yes.
A series of communication.
In the letter of 24th, you're referring to a letter of 10th November, which we do not seem to have.
On the letter of 25th February?
On the one of 24th November 2015 is reference is made to the letter dated November 2015. Maybe that's where the gap is. 10th November 2015. Because UNRA has been claiming they were not involved. Now, who is saying the truth? Yes, Honorable.
Honourable Chair, I want to beg your indulgence. The point where we have reached, technical officers want to confuse our senior minister because they are hiding documents here and there. Honourable Chair, as they still organize, because you wanted a chronology, they say they wrote to UNRA from 2014. There is no letter I've seen of 2014. We'll begin with that. But as they organize, Honourable Chair, you remember the issue of PPDA was very paramount, and members raised an issue where the purported letter of the president just handpicking and it was like a solo contracting. And members said even if it was solo contracting, PPDA should have played a role. As Energy is organizing its house, I request members, if PPDA can be brought on board, because now the technical officers are bringing documents in a way where they want to embarrass the minister. So I want to beg your indulgence as the minister's team is preparing, or the minister's your technical team is preparing, maybe with the slight interface with the PPDA, because theirs members said whether it is the solo contracting they were involved. We want to know whether they were involved in this contract and what. I beg your indulgence, honourable members.
PPDA, what was your role in this procurement? And in any case, do you see anything that was offending the law? Of course, I hope you have followed the chronology of events. I don't know whether you have, but we need to be guided. What was your role? And do you think something went wrong somewhere? Because you know this law better than everybody, you practice it. PPDA.
Chairperson, thank you so much. Chairperson, as you rightly stated, we are on number 5 of the chronology. Chairperson, as you rightly stated, we are still following on the chronology of the events, and we are just reading on number 5 of the chronology relating to the designs for the Simba Public Access Bridge, which were to be undertaken by the contractor. Chairperson and members, as the minister indicated, this was a direct procurement of the contractor. Direct procurement. of the contractor by the ministry, and PPDA had no involvement in this. The entity, that is Ministry of Energy, proceeded under the guidance of the relevant legislations and was able to award the contract to this particular provider. Chairperson and members, we are still following because from the correspondence that you submitted to us, the issues are around the access, public access breach. And I seek your indulgence on which particular one do you want us to?
Honorable Chair.
Yes, Honorable Pentagon.
Honorable Chair, I don't remember the gentleman speaking. Maybe could he reintroduce himself and the capacities he's holding in this meeting? Then I could proceed.
My name is Uthman Segawa. I'm the Acting Executive Director, PPDA.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, it is on that basis that I want to seek clarification from the Acting Executive Director. From your communication, you seem not to be informed about this matter at all. Because you are beating around the bush that the ministry offered the contract, the ministry did what, we are on chronology. It's like you have just come from anywhere and you are going to sit a senior 6 exam. So could you tell us exactly, are you informed about the beginning of this matter? Or maybe you need some time to study it? Because we called here in that capacity to shed some light on how your institution managed this particular project right from its inception. So would you need some help to understand, or you have some knowledge that you had not wanted to share?
Much obliged, Chairperson and member. PPDA, as we have submitted a letter addressed to Chairperson, PPDA was not involved or did not participate in the procurement for the construction works.
No, I think we are on procurement. Are we not on procurement?
We are on procurement.
But you are saying construction. You talk about procurement.
Honorable Biandara, the issue here, Chairperson, is the procurement for the construction works for Isimba hydropower stations and the associated works. That is the procurement. And it is on record that PPDA, as a regulator, was not involved, did not participate in this particular procurement.
Is that what the law says?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay, more questions for
Chair,
PPDA?
The letter that I've given you this morning, Chair,
which I have shared with all members, they have a copy.
In the third paragraph, where we guided was in respect to the consultancy services to carry out the environmental and social impact assessment of Isimba hydropower plant in respect to the Kalagala offset area. That is where we did guide the ministry on the procurement process. But for the construction works, we never guided, neither did the ministry seek our intervention or guidance in that procurement.
Let me first ask him on this particular one. Mr. Segal, did you tell the ministry to carry out the environmental and social impact assessment internally, or you expected them to procure a consultant?
Chairperson and members, procurement is decentralized to the entities. So in this particular aspect, the ministry went out to procure consultancy services for the feasibility studies, for the environmental and social impact assessment.
Would it be irregular if they did so internally within one of their departments? Would it be irregular? if they chose not to hire somebody to do it, but to do it internally.
If they have the resources, it wouldn't be irregular. Similarly, it's like any other service. If the ministry has competence to undertake the consultancy services within the ministry's departments, it's allowed. However, if it was in their procurement plan and they are supposed to contract out, then they shouldn't deviate from the procurement plan.
If it was in their procurement plan. Honorable members, why I'm asking this, you remember 1 billion out of the 4 was retained by Ministry of Energy for that purpose, and is bringing a very important statement that if in their plan it was meant for hiring, outsourcing, then they should have done that. We are going to seek clarification from the PS what was in the original plan immediately after your...
Honour Chair, now that they talked about the procurement plan, can we, through you, the ministry, submit the procurement plan of the years in context? And Honour Chair, I want to sound a little bit of advisory warning. We have most of these procurement plans. When you bring, we also refer to what you submitted earlier. So through you, Chair, can we get that? But Chair, Mr. Segawa has been very honest as a Muslim that they were not involved anywhere. Now, Mr. Segawa, as the head of all PDUs in the whole country, is direct procurement part of also procurement process?
Yes, Chairperson, direct procurement is one of the methods of procurements that are provided for in the law.
Okay. Now, Honour Chair, if it is part and as end of other procurements, may I know from the ministry why they did get technical advice? Because this project, Honour Chair, is a very big what? Project. You can't take it as maybe procuring fruits as we are eating tea. May we know from the ministry, the PS, why didn't you seek for technical guidance? Because the letter we saw from the head of state said do this, but who prepared the bidding documents? Because on our chair, they are supposed to guide whether it's which part of procurement. They should have sought clarification. As you wrote to UNRWA, may we know whether you wrote to PPDA, and if not, why?
So, right, Honourable Chair, I think I direct the PS, who is the accounting officer, to respond to these issues. Yes.
Mr. PS, there are 2 issues on the floor. One you've had direct from the honourable member. Number 2, what was in the plan? Did you have to outsource for environmental impact assessment, or you had planned to do it internally?
Chair, members, I request that I check on that because I was not in that position at that time and I didn't have spent this question about the ESIA that was undertaken for this particular segment.
Where were you? You were not in what? You were not PS.
PS at that time.
We have a person who has been following this project. Yeah. Mr. Baleke Edward. Do you have an idea what you people had planned to do? Yes, what was the plan for carrying out the environmental and social impact assessment? Did you plan to do it in-house or to outsource? We are recording you, my brother.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Through the PS and the Minister, I would like to submit that the feasibility study for Isimba Hydro Power Project was undertaken by Fischner GmbH of Germany in association with Norplan AS of Norway. The feasibility study, which was funded by Norway, included the first section, the technical studies for the power plant and the transmission line, and also the environmental and social impact assessment for the plant, together with the resettlement action plans.
Honorable Ndugu PS, Honorable Minister, last time you appeared with a lady who introduced herself as in charge of environment. Is she here today? Because now the next question is, what did you use the 1 billion for? You need to give us a breakdown of how you utilized the 1 billion.
So I think
Having heard from Edward.
maybe if you don't have
We can provide that information.
later.
Because we wanted to finish this today. Now, if we are still postponing, I don't know when this is going to end. Because this financial year, you received 1 billion, and you quote the timing, you received it this financial year, 1 billion, because it was 4, you passed on 3 to UNRA. We are yet to hear from them whether they received and they used it for what. But 1 billion, which was meant for environmental impact assessment, was received this year.
I beg your pardon, Chair, I had not understood what you were asking for. That environmental impact assessment is being undertaken right now. Originally, when this bridge was supposed to be on top of the dam, the environmental social impact assessment was undertaken for the entire project. However, when we moved downstream, NEMA required that we undertake a fresh environmental social impact assessment, and that process is on. We are all nearly completing.
Bwana PS, I didn't capture your name, unfortunately. Kindly remind me.
Robert Kasande.
Robert, you're Robert like me. Bwana Robert, the minister, you have just guided the minister to state, because I saw you guiding the minister, to say that this new job is going to be done at no cost to government. 1 billion was received from government of Uganda. Is that a cost or not?
They are responsibilities of the contractor, CWE, in this project. Environmental social impact assessment, project restoration, not compensation, is a responsibility of government.
So, Bwana PS, we had done our part in the original project. Yes. Remember, it was one project.
Yes.
The dam with a bridge on top.
Yes.
Which had been taken care of, as Edward has said. Now, because of somebody's mistake in between, you decided to go elsewhere and begin constructing a bridge and access roads. You're claiming at no cost. Now you're saying it is a responsibility of government to carry out a second.
Because we have moved the site to a new site.
But who told you? We didn't want that. Mr. Dr. Harrison, what was the original agreement? Because you have administrative powers on this project, you're seeing how things are moving. Did you decide that we spend more money because of your mistakes? Or even that one should be within what you call no cost?
Honorable Chair, the mistake that was made was an omission or a design error by the EPC contractor. So the EPC contractor should have bared all the costs for whatever happens on the
including the new environmental impact assessment. Do you agree?
In my understanding, yes.
Good. That is being honest. Yes, Honorable.
Honour Chair, I want to the ED. That's why we wanted you are personally, because now such information wouldn't have come. Honour Chair, may I know from the Minister, maybe the PS and ED can answer. What comes first? Now, PS, what if the impact assessment says it doesn't recommend a bridge there? Because you are saying they are just carrying out. How will you account for the money you have done? I thought impact assessment is done before. Now, Chair, we are seeing impact assessment done after.
The work
I
is
believe
already
there is no
31%.
even impact assessment. Chair, this money might have gone to people's hands. Because impact assessment and designs are fast. And Honour Chair, can we know, ED, you said, was it an omission or a mistake? Because those are two different things. And if it is an omission or mistake, who was supposed to identify that mistake or the omission?
ED?
We had an owner's engineer on site.
That is
Energy Infratech. So, in my opinion, the owner's engineer was hired to approve and check and verify designs of the contractor on behalf of government. So they should have advised the employer about those omissions or errors.
And Honour Chair, now that he didn't advise, before you paid him, what did you do? Because did you fine him, and which cost? Because they also have insurance. The person didn't do his work. Can we get a communication from you, either to PS or to where, that this person made a mistake, and on that course, we are not going to pay him because it was an omission or a mistake? Because Honour Chair, you may see that another consultant is the one who might have finished. The other one might have even run out, even if he's the one. What did you do as someone who was directly supervising the employer's what? Representative? Because PS comes in as a father, but you are the ones direct. Unless the money was paid when you didn't have any documentation from you. Can we know what technical action you as ED you took on the consultant who omitted or made a mistake?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. First of all, I want to clarify that UEGCL got contract administration powers in November 2016, and by that time, the project was in advanced stages. However, when we came in, we wrote some correspondences to the PS, which I think we shared with the committee during the site visit, where we raised all these issues, but also regarding the issue where we recommended that the former consultant was not doing a good job. All those correspondences are there, Honorable Chair.
Would you like to state who had administrative powers prior to when you came in?
It was the owner's engineer, that former owner's engineer.
Who's that?
EIPL.
EIPL.
So, Honour Chair, I think the owner's engineer had the administrative powers, so even if he could make a mistake, no one could handle him because he had all the administrative powers. Can we know from you, Honour Chair, know from the minister, why could they give the administrative powers to someone? Moreover, they were government people. Now that person may be even in Huanghun, where there is corona, we can't access him. Can we know from the minister why the ministry did all the administrative powers they gave to a private person? And Chair, this is why, since PPDA was not involved, I think this contract document was made somewhere in somebody's sitting room, a direct procurement. If PPDA was involved, some of these things wouldn't have happened because they are clear, they were not involved. Now somebody who had administrative powers was a private person and he was the one supposed to design. So, Honourable Chair, you see the gist of the matter.
I need to be guided, maybe from the technical bench or the minister. Right now, I think the owner is UEGCL. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
So,
On behalf of them.
yes.
We own all generation
Exactly. Because I'm trying to qualify that word owners, whatever. Right now, you are the owners.
Yes, Honour.
And now you're saying before you came on board, there was an owner. Who was the owner?
Supervising the project.
No, you said owner's engineer.
No, yeah.
Who was the owner?
The owner was the Minister of Energy.
Minister of Energy.
Yeah.
Good.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable.
There seems to be a lot of confusion in this project because even if you look on what is going on now, works are going on, and the PS says, yeah, they are going on, but for us, we are doing the environmental impact assessment, which looks awkward to the procedures I know. How could you proceed before you fulfill the basic requirements for a project to start? Can the PS please explain that to me?
PS?
Honorable Chair, this bridge was intended to be part and parcel of the location of the dam. When we moved it to the downstream, we did not envisage that we would need a separate environmental impact assessment. NEMA wrote to us asking for us to ensure that we have undertaken an environmental impact assessment after we had started. And therefore we complied and started to do the environmental.
No, NEMA was just kind to you that you are doing wrong things. You as the PS should have known that before you start, you must have those best things in place. You don't, supposing they didn't tell you.
Chair, to add on what Honourable Engineer Yandara is saying, supposing NEMA's report says that bridge will be very bad for the environment, what will you do with that money, which the contractor has already invested? Honourable Minister, supposing NEMA comes and says we want to wash our hands.
And you've been in charge of the environment for so long.
Yes.
Right, Honourable Chair, truly speaking, I think an environmental impact assessment is supposed to be done before the project. And secondly, an environmental impact assessment is not done to allow, like if something is already ongoing, you don't do it as a way of trying to correct or to accommodate it. So I think that was an error which we should own as government. And it was an error, and indeed, as a minister, I think I have to come and see. But even within the project as it is going on, we can ensure that no adverse impacts, especially on the environment, occur. But that one professionally is very wrong. More so as a minister who was in charge of environment.
Honorable Minister, if I might ask you at this point in time, would you be comfortable with us recommending that whoever is spending that money refunds it to government of Uganda, and let the person who is supposed to bear the cost do it. Would you be comfortable with such a recommendation?
But, Right Honourable Chair, that being a big project, maybe you give me time to look through what is being done and be able to guide, because that being a very big project, I've been to the site, and there may be some other consequences. Maybe you need
Minister,
to give
we
me
are not
time.
saying they stop doing the environmental impact assessment. We are not saying that. He has just said, Dr. Harrison has just said that that cost should have been borne by somebody else, not the government of Uganda. Let that person bear the cost, do the environmental impact assessment, but bring back government of Uganda money, 1 billion.
I think under that, since I was committed to say that we're doing it at no cost, so I think the extra costs are they are bound to be illegal.
Thank you. Honorable Susan?
Honorable Chair, I had something in line with that.
I saw Susan's hand, then you come.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, from what I've been following, the submissions coming from the technical bench in regard to the environmental impact assessment, it's common sense that this has to be done before any work starts. But it appears there's something which is being hidden by the technical staff. It appears there's something they know which is fishy about this impact assessment, environmental impact assessment, which they don't want to bring out clearly. Can we kindly ask, through you, Chair, that what is it that they are trying to hide? How could it happen that the environmental impact assessment was not done and it's being done now as the construction works is going on? Even for a lay person in the villages, when you intend to construct a pit latrine, you first locally you look around where there are water points, whether there are water points around that area before beginning to dig your pit latrine. Now, this is a ministry with technical persons. I see there is something fishy which is not being brought out, Honorable Chair.
But Mr. Chairman, maybe the minister could tell us, are they doing an environmental assessment or an environmental impact assessment?
Right, Honorable Chair. I think what should be done in the law should be an environmental impact and a social assessment. That is what we do these days. That's what we call EISA.
Yeah, I'm saying that one, Minister.
That is what is being done.
I'm saying
the timing is what is not correct. But otherwise, for such a project, it requires that.
You know, Madam Minister, I asked you that thing because I participated and I had to go around that problem of impact. And I wrote a NEMA, they said, I'm going to do environmental assessment. This was on Achievable Channel. They said, oh, please go ahead. So I went ahead and it worked in my favor. When I was constructing, they came for their impact. I said, please, I asked from you, environment assessment, not impact assessment. These are two different things. With impact, you must correct before you go ahead. But assessment, I'm just getting knowledge. Oh, this can happen. And so that's why I asked you, were you doing an environmental assessment or impact assessment?
It should be an environmental impact assessment. And these days we add on social. Environmental impact and social assessment.
I had chosen Pentagon, then Honorable, the area member of Parliament, Honorable Kolobi. And you have to get back your money.
Now, Honorable Chair, in the previous meeting that we had here with some of these people, we had wanted in this particular meeting to have the former minister, Honorable Irene Muroni, because now I'm sympathizing with the new minister. She has been in environment looking after swamps and fish and waters. Now she's here. She cannot answer very well. The other one was here. He read some brief thing. The real people who were in that thing are not here. I wish we had those people. They would give us knowledge. But Honorable Chair, one thing that is clear is that this current money that they got, the 1 billion, without any form of negotiation should be returned to the consolidated fund, because some people just put money there to earn. If it was to be used for the real purpose, surely it should have come earlier than this. Something should have been right. We should not just try to formalize things for the sake when people are eating money. Then the other thing, Honorable Chair, the fact is that there is a problem. Minister of Energy bulldozed everybody in this project. That is why PPD is not there. UNRA came later when things had gone bad. Even other people in the same ministry are not aware. So there is a problem, and information actually comes that there was a big problem. Now that we have seen this one, if it wasn't some form of corruption, the first owner's engineer would have been held liable, responsible for the losses that we have entered into. But this company was discharged and a new one brought on board. I don't know whether there's a report to that effect. The first owner's engineer should have been held responsible for the loss. Now I conclude by saying, Honorable Chair, we are doing a postmortem. Things have gone beyond. I told you in the first meeting here when we were handling this matter, when I analyzed the president's letter, I told you this is a first cancer. All problems are coming because of sourcing friends, relatives, and in-laws to do public projects. And we have to speak to this. So this is a source of all danger. And that is why PPD did not come. Even some of these people fear for their jobs, they don't speak. But we should speak against this.
Honorable Member, PPD has just said single sourcing is within the confines
Actually,
of the
Honorable
law.
Chair, on the same
And that's
note,
what the President did.
on the same note, Honorable Chair, when the President was concluding, he directed that the other procedures be done. But already he had chosen the company, but he further directed that the other procedures be done. And it was eminent on the Minister of Energy to contact all the other stakeholders. But can I conclude like this, Honorable Chair?
Please do.
That we are doing a postmortem. I have been there, we need a bridge. Lucky enough, the construction, according to what has been done, the material on the ground is not so bad, we can say. But me, when I was there, when I moved around, talked to other people, the officials here, the contractor, and the workers who are there, I discovered that there is a constraint to the contractor.
What is that supposed to mean?
You see, the challenge now is, since last year, 2019, I think around March there has not been any money paid to the contractor. Why? Because according to the corruption between the three, the owner's engineer, the contractor, and the Minister of Energy, they had actually overshot the payments thinking that work was done. But after some good cadres identifying that the road was not due, it was not as had been expected, then they realized that they had to do a new road. It is good they are doing it at no extra cost. But still now that they had overpaid, and we are lucky that there's still $28 million, there is even the security money, because I'm aware that on every contract there must be a certain percentage of the money that is withheld as security. I think now we should focus on how to deal with the contractor and our people in the ministry to make sure that the construction continues. And then we do remedies that are able to be done within the shortest possible time. Because the fact is that the people of Uganda need that bridge.
Okay,
so I think we should now focus on whether we squeeze these people, how. Okay, those who ate money, the Karisas, Moroni, and others have already left. So we are not going to do much. Even when you bring, there's no much. Let's look at the progress of the work.
Honorable members, observations and recommendations will be dealt with in an in-house meeting. Honorable Lukolo.
But Mr. Chairman,
let us
just
I have the floor.
No, please, because when we are here, let us not make accusations. When you say Muloni ate money, Kalisa, you know, it is very, very humiliating and it's not good. So let us talk generally, but you can imagine she has daughters and sons.
I agree with you, and let
But
that
Honorable
statement
Chair,
be expanded.
I want the committee to disregard the submission of Honorable Biandara, because you know he was the Minister of Works and you remember what he did.
Please.
Honorable members.
I went in court, I was cleared, and you should stop that.
Yes, indeed, I witnessed court proceedings. Honorable
Chairman.
members, Honorable Rugolovi has the floor.
Yeah, Chairman, I came in a bit late. My name is Amos Rugolovi, the area MP for this project. Mr. Chairman, I think we should avoid running to conclusions before we are there. I think we are still probing this matter. So I think it will not be proper for any member to run to any conclusion at this stage, because we are trying to get the right information. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to submit on 2 issues. One was on the issue of the direct procurement. I happened to be available at that time, and I was a member of the Presidential Budget Advisory Committee. And the matter was brought before us that the procurement that was sponsored by the World Bank for the construction of Isimba and Karuma had collapsed. At that time, there was a very big question about the supply of power in this country. We had just gone out of the load shedding, but we are about to get into it if we had not provided these projects in 2 years' time. Now, when we examine the period it took to procure a contractor under the World Bank funding then, I think it took about 2 years. We realized that if we went back into that process again, the country would end up into a serious problem of load shedding. Now, in that meeting, we had been informed that there was going to be a meeting, the Sino-Africa Summit in South Africa. That is between China and the African countries. And we are informed that China had provided, I don't remember the figure, but over 75 billion, or something like that, to support the development of Africa on concessional terms. And that Africa could access that money. So in our meeting, involving Ministry of Finance and other key stakeholders, we took a decision that we should recommend it to the President that as he goes to attend that summit, he should seek for a bilateral meeting with the Chinese President to support these projects at a bilateral level. Up until now, I had not seen this letter of the President, but it communicates exactly what transpired on the sidelines of that summit. The 2 presidents met, and what we requested the President to do was to ask his colleague, the President of China, to provide 2 companies, at least 2 companies, to undertake these projects. The company that he thought that he trusted and have been doing the work in China could come and transfer that know-how in Uganda and help Uganda get out of that crisis, that energy crisis. So it was really done at a bilateral level and at a very high level. So we should not spend time, probing Uthman, about the procurement of this project. It happened at a level that he could not handle, and it was addressed a crisis. Crisis management is different from normal management. You cannot apply normal management at a time of a crisis. You remember how our GDP growth had gone drastically down as a result of lack of energy in this country. And we wanted to avert that crisis of lack of energy. So that decision was taken at that level. And hence, the direct procurement of these companies facilitated by the head of state in the People's Republic of China. So I think we should appreciate this project in that context. Now, the unfortunate bit is during execution, where when during the launch of this project, I was there, and the president announced that there is going to be a bridge between Kayunga and Kamuli. But midway towards the implementation of this project, I could not see this happen. And I asked Engineer Chigundu. You remember Engineer Chigundu had been appointed to be, I don't remember. Yes, I asked him, I don't see anything happening about the bridge as an MP. And he told me, I think you have lost the bridge in this project. And I got concerned. So I walked to this Chinese company, China Water. I went there with my team from the district to find out whether we had really lost it. And they told me we are going to construct a bridge downstream, away from what was originally planned. So they comforted me that they were going to do it. That would be the work for 2019. So they assured us that it was going to be done. So, Mr. Chairman, since we had an environmental impact study in the beginning, I think our team here perhaps got misled to believe that that same environmental impact study would apply, you know, to this new project or to this corrective measure that was being taken, which I want to submit that whereas the original design was there, I think this new step that we are taking now is more favorable. Is more favorable to construct a bridge away from the dam, because the two surely should not be going together. It was going to be very risky for this project if this bridge was constructed on top of the dam. And I think, whereas there was a mistake, but I think it's a blessing in disguise. So whatever they are doing is just corrective measures. You know, this EIA, they are trying to move from behind, you know, to correct what would have been there. I think, as they mentioned, NEMA demanded that a new EIA is done, and they are just trying to do that. So when we admit that there was a mistake would always be associated with some costs. Certainly, in terms of counterpart funding, you'd expect some form of funding requirement on this one, since you are trying to correct a mistake. But the contractor, I think, is meeting all the costs for constructing the bridge. But whatever other associated costs, like supervision and so on, or EIA, I think those are costs that we may have to undertake for as long as there's going to be a road. And indeed, we need this environmental impact social study as the people who are immediately affected by this project. Because previous in the other study, we had an associated community action development plan, which was not implemented immediately, but which is beginning to be implemented now. You know, they just be because UEGCL, whoever was concerned, did not provide for a budget for it. You know, and it is very common, these projects do EIAs, but to implement the mitigation measures, they usually don't budget for it. So the communities get affected. But I think this is now being done. What we want to request is that since it is just beginning, and it's for Isimba and Karuma, Ministry of Finance had communicated that it's going to be removed from the PIP. I think it has been there for a long time without funding. But now as it starts, they want to remove it, which I think is wrong. So the ministry should advocate that this project, you call it CDAP, CADAP, whatever, you know, remains on the PIP, because removing it would be very dangerous. Even the EIA you are doing now would be irrelevant without it. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Member. As Honorable Baba comes in, PPDA should also advise, should guide us on whether the 1 billion would be too little, enough, or too much for such a job, because you have been at the helm of such things for some time. 1 billion in the view of the committee, sounds too much. I have heard in the previous meeting members saying, oh, 1 billion for EIPA. So we need to know, what do you think about that figure?
Chair, the task before me is an uphill task. However, I've seen in our monitoring and evaluation undertakings, specifically the procurement audits, we've seen consultancies going above 1 billion Uganda shillings. I don't know the scope of this. I'm not properly informed about the scope of this particular consultancy, but I've seen consultancies which are above 1 billion Uganda shillings.
Okay.
Especially in the road sector and the energy sector, the water sector.
Thank you so much. Honorable
Mr.
Bafo.
Chair, I can't say with certainty
Maybe
that it was undervalued or overvalued. But based
information from
information. The chief of PPD has preferred not to mention his costs also, because to approve these environmental impact assessments, they also charge a certain percentage of the construction cost. Yeah, but that will be environment still.
environment and not PPDA.
Okay, environment. The costs are environment.
Yes, please.
No,
The two are
asking
different.
The cost is 1 billion enough.
Yeah, but it's not here. Okay, Honorable Baba has the floor, then Honorable Walswak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry I came in late. My name is James Baba, a Member of Parliament, Koboko County. Mr. Chairman, you sent us with a team led by our Vice, Honorable Kumama, to visit in Simba Bridge last week. And we saw the scope of work being done. The challenge, according to my assessment, we have right now is from the contractor, which Honorable Pentagon hinted at earlier on. The contractor was going to do the public access road as per the initial agreement on top of the dam. He even told us he made up to 3 designs on top of the dam, which were all rejected. In the end, they agreed on this downstream bridge now under construction, which we all visited at the site. And we're all very pleased by the progress being made. Now, the issue is the cost of this new bridge downstream is likely to be much higher than what was originally designed to be on top of the dam. He's asking now who is going to meet this cost. Although initially, the cost of the public access dam on the dam was going to be part of the contractual agreement signed. This is now a new job with maybe additional costs. Who is going to meet this cost? Government should guide us how this is going to be met. The Chinese, of course, the contractor is consulting with their government. I'm told even their president came and said, let this work go on, but they'll continue negotiating. Who is going to meet this additional cost of the bridge dam there? Is the contract going to be revised? Government should guide us on this, because this is going to be cost of the public purse.
Maybe further to what Honorable Baba has just said. Honorable Minister, I've been reading Addendum 4 to the EPC. I've been reading Addendum 4 to the EPC contract that split the project. And when you go to page 2, there's some paragraph numbered F. It is stated therein that the parties note that the delays affecting project completion by 31st August 2018 are attributable to both parties. Attributable to both parties as recorded in Annex 1 of the minutes of negotiation meetings held on the 9th August and 13th August. So you had some negotiation meetings, and some of these things were attributable to both parties. What is this supposed to mean? Does it mean that you're going to share the cost or what? What is PS?
Let me start with his question. Who is going to meet the cost, the additional cost? In our opinion, and rightly said, we had a series of negotiations with this person because for them they were insisting that what they have will serve the purpose. But clearly we, from our OE and ourselves, we saw that it wouldn't serve the purpose. So that discussion led to agreeing that this contractor will do a fresh bridge downstream. And it was agreed in those meetings that you are referring to that they will meet that cost. So when you come on the bridge now and they are with you, they are trying to bargain and see if somebody else can help them. But it's already documented that they will meet that cost.
I think that clarifies, Honorable.
Honorable Chair, it doesn't clarify. In fact, it brings more headache. Honorable Chair, can the PS put the agreement they signed? Because according to what you are reading there, which PS appended his signature, is that the cost will be met by all. Unless when you have another document where you agreed, Honorable Minister, you lay on the floor. Because what Chair is reading is saying different. But Honorable Chair, may I get from the ED of generation and the PS through the Honorable Minister? Madam Minister, that's why Honorable Pentagon said you have come to a docket with the hot fire firing a wrong what? A wrong person. But as our senior friend, we shall see how we handle. But Honorable Chair, may I know from the PS, since this letter here, which the President gave you a copy, the PS Minister of Energy, he said, in fact, he directed, he didn't just say, that conclude the required negotiations and document required. So, Honorable Chair, may we know from the PS why they didn't consult PPDA? Moreover, the President directed that they should conclude the required what? Negotiations and documentation. Can we know in the negotiation, you said that you agree with the contractor that he will do at that cost? Can Chair, the PS lay on table that document today? Because when the contractor will come, you say, you see, you agreed. And yes, the agreement, where you agreed with him, because this letter still stands, because the project is still on. The letter still stands, it's a directive. So can we know, Chair, why the Ministry of Energy did not consult PPDA, despite the fact that the President directed? Because the documentation on contracts, we know PPDA is part. Because UNRWA is not here, why did you write to UNRWA? Now, why did you selectively leave out PPDA? And finally, Honorable Chair, this one goes to ED generation. Can you bring a documentation from you where you wrote to either PS or the Minister saying this contractor, because he did this mistake, because a mistake of some consultant is bringing us here. And Chair, we may not get the bridge by 2020, and we are going to elections. So can we get what you did as the new owner's what? Engineer? And whether you deducted the contractor money. Because if somebody does a mistake, you are supposed to deduct money. So can we know the documentation from you, what you did from your office to the person who omitted? If you wrote and the ministry didn't act, you bring documentation. Chair, those are the two things I want to know from the PS, why they did consult PPDA. Two, the ED generation, if he knew, he came on board, he knew the mistakes and omissions of the engineer, the owner's engineer, what did you write to the PS? And did you make this man or this company which has now brought trouble. Now Honorable Gorobi is under pressure from his voters. So those two documentation, Honorable Chair.
Actually, when appears, even the first question, you didn't answer properly. Because this is the contract, the agreement you're saying, at no cost. It is part of it. So what are these delays? Maybe you need to enumerate them. What are these delays you are talking about that are attributable to both parties? Because we need to understand what we are responsible for and what the contractor is responsible for.
Chair, just wanted to know if we have the same document here. And I point you to page 8 of 9. Yes, page 8 of 9. The last would be the last page actually. So I think maybe the addendum number 4.
8 of 9.
At the back. Go to the back, the real back. That's a different document. Maybe I'll that one.
Open the other side where there are signatures.
These are different.
No, they are the same.
Oh, yeah, the very last. Yes, the very last page where there are signatures. No, these signatures. No, go on. Sir, at the back of the document.
What do you want to highlight?
Agreed position on the last column at the bottom.
Yes, agreed position.
CWE committed to constructing the public bridge / access roads at no additional cost to the employer. And their signature is signature number 2 on that.
Yes, this one I had seen. That's why I'm saying this is the document which says at no cost.
Yes.
But on page 2 of that same document, are you there?
Yes.
Paragraph F. You see paragraph F? Parties note that the delays affecting the project completion by 31st August 2018 are attributable to both parties as recorded in Annexure 1 of the minutes. Maybe they are enumerated in Annexure 1. We could go there.
The context.
What is the meaning of?
The chair, the context of this statement is the entire project. There is transmission line, there is the context of this part F is not specific to the bridge. It is the context of the entire document contract.
On the same?
Yes.
On the same, then we under the council.
On the same, the issue is this owners project told us that the contractor has been paid over and above the certificates that were issued. In other words, he has to do more work to equal to the amount he has been paid before he paid additional money. Yet, on the assessment of the construction of the bridge, the money remaining will not be able even to complete that bridge. So the contractor is going to be in a dilemma. He's overpaid, the balance remaining cannot complete the work of the bridge.
Actually, that is true, because even in his letter, he complains that he issued interim payment certificates to the tune of $28 million, but no response from
procedure. I asked the PS why he intentionally didn't consult PPD in the documentation. He has not answered. And I asked the ED of generation, what did he do to the errant engineer's owner's engineer who did not make the drawings, who didn't do what, and we are getting into this mess.
Maybe
So
answer those 2 questions,
yes.
Then be under the council.
Let me answer. Chair, while I was not the PS then, I can still interpret this statement from His Excellency the President. it says, this is therefore to direct you to conclude the required negotiations and documentation with these Chinese companies. This is already citing direct procurement. So the negotiations were to conclude how much money is this loan going to be, Ministry of Finance had to come in, what is the cost of this loan, and I think that was undertaken.
Those are only negotiations. The issue of documentation. I wanted, through you, Honour Chair, PS, since you said you want to answer, why didn't you go to PPDA to give you a document, the procurement document and what? A standard document from the owners, since this was a very big project. Why didn't you go? The negotiations were not saying, why didn't you advertise? No, we had already a contractor by the power of the chief executive. But why didn't you go to PPDA to get for you a document? A standard document. Some of these things where you say addendum, you wouldn't have come. And I know, Chair, I'm not satisfied unless the PS tells me the reason why they didn't go. Or else, yes.
Yes, why didn't you want to work with it?
We used the directive to go direct and we had the documentation within ourselves.
PPDA. Why didn't you go to get your document?
Because we thought this was first of all a bilateral, and we had a directive to move with somebody that we already had. So there was no need for us to go to PPDA.
Honour Chair, according to PS,
PPDA, is that the standard procedure where we have bilaterals, no need to come for any other documentation from you?
Yes, Chair. Chair, the PPDA law under Section 4A provides for instances where procurements are under bilateral tied loans. And it provides expressly, that is Section 4A2, that where there is a conflict between this act, that is the PPDA Act, the regulations, and the donor condition imposed by the donor of the funds, the conditions of the donor prevail over this act. Chair and members, when it comes to documentation, the PPDA grants deviation over the documentation used. For example, if I'm undertaking an EPC contract and you are going to use an EPC bidding document, and this bidding document is not issued by PPDA, you would come for a deviation and would grant it as long as it meets the requirements.
Thank you. So he has answered.
Honour Chair.
He has answered.
They did not come for the deviation.
They did not come, but they were supposed to come.
Yes.
So, Chair, you have heard from the PPDA that the other people, they were supposed to go to the PPDA, but they didn't go.
Because of the deviation.
He said, because of the deviation, you are supposed to go to them, but they didn't go. This is the problem.
Okay.
And the Honour Minister,
make an observation.
This issue of saying the President directed, our President is very sober. He directs, but when he talks about documentation and negotiation, all those ones are embedded. So I think PPD has told us clearly, PS was supposed to go for a deviation letter, but they didn't what? They didn't go.
Honorable Bianda.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
There's a question from these people who what did they do for the person?
Oh,
who
yes, there was that question. Generation.
Here we have seen that they failed.
Harrison, what did you do?
Chair, there are correspondences here where we wrote to the owner's engineer by then, EIPL, actually telling him that there is supposed to be a bridge on top of the dam. The consultant by then said he has read all the documents, all the contracts, and he was saying there is actually no bridge on top of the dam. This is the consultant we had hired. Now, I asked my people to read the contract. We read the contract, and we actually found that there is supposed to be a bridge on top of the dam. So we wrote to him and gave him the details, referring to the contract, and it is since that time that he agreed that actually there is supposed to be a bridge on top of the dam. All these correspondences we shared with the committee when they visited, and I still have copies here. Now, on what we did, we informed the PS that this owner's engineer should be blacklisted and he should be held liable for the defects and the omissions that happened on the project. Now, that documentation is all here.
Please lay it on table. That one is very key. Yeah.
Are they the same? They are different. Are they the same?
They are referring to the same thing.
Okay, please lay on table. We let the records capture them. Yes, person, because you have mentioned. Honorable Biandal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I just want to appeal to the PS that he shouldn't take this lightly, that there will be no costs. Contractors are not NGOs, and you get for what you pay. Honestly, if this road was on top of the dam, the reinforcements, the cement would definitely be far less than when it is isolated on its own. My advice to you would be, get the design, go to quantity surveyors and quantify what is involved in this new bridge. And your consultant should have submitted this to the contractor to fill the BQs, and then you find the real cost. But you can't say that even if you went to arbitration, he will definitely lose the job, the case. You can't expect somebody who was just putting on top of something, but now is putting a bridge hanging. I don't know what span it is. And you think the cost will be the same. So the earlier you do and correct this, the better you negotiate with the contractor and get this project moving.
Information to engineer Biandala.
Procedure. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm wondering, whether we should provoke the contractor to impose costs on the government, where the contractor has said that I take responsibility and I'm going to construct the bridge. I think it should come from the contractor. But for us to start estimating costs and telling the contractor that, oh, you are not going to be able to construct this, I don't find it in order. I don't know, but that kind of approach is going to be very detrimental to the process, because the question will really be raised. Question will be raised. I'm still holding the floor. Yeah, but I'm on a procedure. Not for now. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was submitting because you are very busy.
Please proceed.
You are being
now
by a lady.
No, she's a clerk, not a lady.
But it's normal.
It's
I was saying that we should not provoke a process where the contractor is going to demand money from us, where he has said that he's responsible for that cost. The company we are talking about is a government company. It has a reputation to protect. They can do good where they have things have gone bad. They have the capacity to restore the situation. And we should not be worried that we gave them money in advance. It means that they have the money. These are not small companies. They are very large companies that can absorb these kind of liabilities on them. You see, the important thing is to establish, are they responsible? And if we establish they are responsible, like the ED was saying, that they discover that they are responsible for the error, so they take that responsibility. We should not take on costs that are not ours. This government cannot afford that.
Okay. You want to supplement?
Yes.
The PS.
Yes.
If before let's get that information. You know, he was worried on behalf of the contractor.
Yes.
That the contractor is complaining.
Because whether it was a slip of the tongue or not, during our discussions in Atinsimba, in their boardroom, the contractor mentioned a sum of $70 million as the cost of building that bridge downstream. So Honorable Engineer Biandala is absolutely right. Let's not take these things at face value. Somewhere down the road, this thing can come up again. So what are we doing about it?
Let the PS supplement Honorable Ugolobi.
Chair, fortunately, when I came to this office, that's exactly at the time when the owner's engineer communicated that the bridge that has been built is not fit for purpose for a road. It will cause accidents. It will be one way. When you have to come, you have to block the other way and then move. Then they said, okay, what do I do? I created a committee that did this investigation, and we concluded that this Chinese, or this contractor, forgive me, will do a new road. Of course, he was trying to cut corners even then. And the things that he's telling you now, he's exactly trying to follow up on what he was trying to do. He was trying to, we would be in a bigger problem now if we had accepted that that road stays. And that's what he wanted to do. So we agreed, and the minutes are here. We have shown you the minutes that he will do at no additional cost. Additional cost meant the entire sum of the loan, that we're not going to look for any other money. The 567 is what we meant.
Honorable Ik.
Mr. Chair.
Iki, not Ik.
Mr. Chair, thank you so much. Mr. Honorable Walswaka raised the pertinent issue when you bypass PPDA. That was a big mistake. But Mr. Pierce, I pose a question to you. You understand this project changed the owner's engineer from the first one to the second one. May we know as a committee, probably that's an area where we are much interested, why it meant the first owner engineer to abandon the project, or it was sacked, or there were some deficiencies. What caused that? And what are the cost implications to government of Uganda when the first owner's engineer was sacked or abandoned the work? Some reasons as to why.
Please respond. PS.
And then you need to know, at the time of getting the second owner's engineer, was PPDA involved, probably at that level?
Yes. Have you had
who are involved in?
No. We're asking the PS.
PS.
You come in later.
The new OE was hired by UGC, so I will ask you. EIPL. It was EIPL. We realized that he was not doing the job as he should have been. And that realization was...
You say he was incompetent.
It's a matter of English, Chair, but I think he wasn't delivering as...
There was a recommendation by a team, led by people. Yes.
Can you say on this?
Cashin, when they went to check on these projects, the other one of Karuma and this one Uzimba, they found that the man was not up to date in the performance he was assigned by the owner of the contract, that's the government. So they recommended that this person be terminated and another one who is competent be appointed. So the owner's engineer did the job, they evaluated and got a new contractor to replace the other one. And in fact, they represent the company, so I cannot have.
Yeah, the
name of
first one they
company.
told us was the EIPL, correct?
Was he fully paid? Or is there any litigation that took place? Has he not taken government to court? Yes.
Not that I'm aware, he hasn't.
Yes, Honorable.
Honour Chair, the document which the ED, Engineer Doctor, brought, have been perusing through. They wrote to the PS, and through your indulgence, if you can allow me, Chair, you can refer to the PS to page 2, where I've put a black. You give the Chair, gives the PS through the Minister. He proposed to you that because this man has messed up almost everything, that there is a provision in the contract that you can get from him money which totals up to the whole consultancy contract. May I know two things from through you, Chair, from the PS, through the Minister. How much was the contract of the consultancy contract, and why, having been told by technical officers that this consultant was fake, incompetent, PS, why didn't you get money equivalent to the contract sum as advised by the technical officer? Because the technical officer is in black and white.